We came across this MX-10 and Cash said, let's HPA it. Cash is sitting next to me.
And you said you can't.
And I said I couldn't. And then we looked at the internals and I went, oh yeah, I could. He challenged me to HPA this thing. I don't know how it's going to perform, and I honestly don't care if we turn up the pressure so high it breaks this thing, because as current, it's worthless. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to make this up as I go along, but stick around and join me for the adventure. Screw montage.
Montage doesn't work if you are talking while he's screwing.
If a dog was to have a montage, would he sing it like this?
Montage!
Or like this?
Montage.
Alright, I think I got them all. Oh, panel. Apparently, there we go. To here. Alright, internals. This is why this thing is so pathetic. This tank is tiny.
Well, that's bigger than Hornet tank.
Really?
And Hornet tank.
I'm going to beg to differ, because we have 6 Hornet tanks here.
Oh,
That
okay.
is
Maybe
smaller
not.
than a Hornet tank.
I am wrong. Okay.
We're going to get pretty pathetic power out of it, but, you know, whatever. This is for the memes. Who cares?
For the memes.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm not going to use... oh, that's the blast button. So it is a back pressure tank. I'll have to try and figure out where we can get a...
Why not just line into it?
I think... Yeah. We can 8th or maybe a 5mm. Oh, yeah, that's perfect. Look at that.
Is that gonna thread?
Probably.
Or are you gonna epoxy it in? Or...
If I put thread tape on there, and then I could just epoxy that in. Yeah, that could work. Either way, that goes on there. We've got our little spring spacer for the turret. And then we need to put one of our good old-fashioned MJVO3 valves. People keep asking, I don't know if you can see that on there, but this is an MJVO-3 two-position 3-way valve. These are invaluable for HPA work. So we need to put this about like that, and then we need to bring some HPA in, and then into there, and then that should do the thing. In fact, I might put it up here and put a little epoxy putty. I've come up with a small problem already. The issue is that the trigger met only fully advances the turret at the very end of the pull. Wow. Yeah, at the very end of the trigger pull, which is unfortunate because we need that last little bit of the trigger pull to pop the tank. So what we're going to have to figure out a way is to extend this trigger pull a little bit so that we can fire the tank or make it rotate a little bit earlier. And what we want to do is change the relative distance between this point here and that point there. And that would cause the trigger to start a little bit closer, which should allow the turret to continue rotating, but just given that extra couple of millimeters, that will allow us to press this in at the right time, because we want it to rotate, then fire. Okay, so in order to fit the trigger and have it function correctly, we just got to lop out this bit. Ghetto modding, but that's top tier cutting there. So we're going to hot glue the switch in place to fire the blaster, and what I've done is I've flattened out this area and drilled a hole all the way through the shell so that the air can vent out. Once again, I just use hot glue to put this stuff in place because these switches are expensive. Well, I'm feeling pretty chuffed with myself on this, actually. I did it first go exactly the way I planned it to go, so that really happens. Anyway, you can see here we've got the little lifter and we've got our pressing button, and we've shortened this slightly so that it now rotates and then presses. Perfectly timed.
You ended up doing a bit of both the rod and the plastic.
Yeah. When I was pushing around, that sort of supported. But hey, it holds on there nicely. This is, you know, cued up nicely enough to press this. There's not that much force, and it works. So let's finish plumbing this up, and we're almost done. So the next step, we're just going to epoxy this fitting into the back here. That seals up quite nicely, but I just want to secure it in place.
Question.
Yep.
That's smooth. Will that just
Oh,
blow out
no.
the end?
You see, what I've done off camera is I've actually scored up the inside quite a bit with the knife. So that should give it a bit more grip.
Oh, cool.
Yep. Okay, so we got the epoxy on, and then we just put that in like that. Too easy. So what we need to do now is cut a little hole in there so that we can mount our quick connect.
And now everyone at home is going to cringe for safety's sake.
Oh yeah. Do not try this at home, kids. I'm a trained professional.
No pilot hole or nothing. Goose.
Got him. We've drilled our hole here, and now we just need to take out these 2 support pieces on each side.
Not cut yourself.
Yeah. gotten pretty good at not cutting myself. We'll cut a bit extra just to be safe. Goes in that. Alright, this much off. Perfect. See, kids, measure once, cut twice. We've sorted out the other problems. Now what we need to do is drill out these holes so that we can get rid of the air restrictors, because there are actually air restrictors in this blaster. Not that it really needs them.
Look what you've done. You made him mod. You didn't want to mod tonight, but now he's modding.
Okay, so one of the things I forgot when I was drilling out the air restrictors is there's still the spring-loaded plate, and so it's pushing the darts sort of back out of the barrel. So what I need to do is grab the springs out and then punch those plates out. See, I said it was really easy, except some of these springs are hard to grab.
Just pull the springs out.
Okay, that happened. I didn't know that was a thing. Well, that makes that a lot easier. I guess we'll just have to glue these back in.
Oh,
Yeah.
lol. Oh, that's rad.
Guess I'm mixing up some more epoxy.
And now you can recess the dart in even deeper.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit more barrel.
Nice. So Ryan deformed those little plates a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm just
them out.
crushing them flat in the vise with the smooth surface of the paddle pop stick. Yeah. Well, this is kind of tedious but necessary because I've got to glue all of those air restrictor plate thingies back in and...
Hopefully they all seal properly.
Yeah. Alright, done. Okay.
This one last plate isn't playing ball, so we've epoxied it and put it in the vise and...
That's how they say it in America, right? Sprang a thing. If you're American, please confirm.
The tension springs are called spring things.
Mm-hmm. That is in. The rotation mech in. And the turret. Holy shit, this is so close to done. Stopper thing in. Yeah, let's yeah, I could feel that opening the valve and everything. Alright, let's give that a try with the
You should probably put some screws in.
Nah, it's fine. See, I told you so, something's leaking. Either way. Sick.
Did you already tape up all the threads?
I thought I did, but apparently I did not do a good enough job. So let's bring this sucker over and see if we can diagnose the issue. I'm an idiot. I didn't tape this one up. Someone called me out on threading the thread tape the wrong way, and they were completely correct. You should make sure that you thread it on this way, so when you tighten it, it doesn't unravel the thread tape as you go. Just a little tip. So make sure you wrap it around like that, because when you tighten it, then you're sort of making sure the thread tape stays wrapped up. Okay, take two. Something's leaking. This one is not done well enough, and I can believe that.
It's all squished up.
Yeah, being taken apart and put back together a couple of times. I'm not super unsurprised. I mean, I'm not super surprised. You know what I meant. Take three. Perfect. Put this side of the shell on. Uh-oh. Sick. Alright, that's at like 0 PSI, so we're done for testing for now. So this is the completed mod. Let me just go over really quickly what I've done. To start with, we've drilled out the back of the turret to get rid of the air restrictors. Then we've taken out this original, blast button type mechanism and replaced it with a push connect that's been epoxied in. That goes to our three-way 2-position valve that then goes to our quick connect. Added some epoxy onto this bar so that when the trigger goes back, it will depress the valve. And then finally, one small addition that we've done is shaved down that little bit there, And the same on the corresponding side to allow the trigger reset to go just a little bit further forward, because we shortened the bar on the trigger pull so that it will go backwards further. So it goes further forwards and also further backwards correspondingly, so that the turret still rotates properly.
How did it shorten the bar?
I bent it. I added another little bend, and that sort of shortened it by about that much.
Oh, okay, I didn't catch that.
You can also see by bending it down, we've allowed it to clear under the valve there. Anyway, that's the crux of it, so let's put this back together and fire a few shots through it. These darts are actually quite a loose fit in this barrel, so what I might do is end up replacing this turret with a 3D printed turret with some PETG that's got a tightening ring at the base, or maybe some brass. I'm not exactly sure, but this is quite loose. It felt a bit loose. So this is 50 psi. This is higher than I've tested it for, but
Maybe not shoot the garage door at 2 a.m.
Alright, let's take that to the hallway. That performance is nothing special, but it's far greater than the stock performance for this blaster. Some of these darts are just falling in, so I reckon they just fall out, yeah. Which would also pretty detrimentally affect the performance because the air seal around the dart is probably pretty pathetic. Anyway, let's give this a few shots. That was pathetic. Let me see if I can find some tight fitting.
Full vinyl nipples.
Yeah, so you see how that first one, the FPS was a lot higher? That's because the fit on that one was a lot tighter than the rest of them. So what I'm going to do is scrap this turret. I'm going to 3D print something to replace it that takes brass barrels, and then I'll find a nice brass for these darts, and then this will actually be quite good, I think.
One eternity later.
So after a rage-inducingly amount of failed 3D prints, I decided to go and try and cut the barrel down in order to adapt this to fit just like that. That didn't really turn out because the bottom is actually really quite wide and I couldn't be bothered to plug that all up with epoxy or whatever. But this barrel material doesn't fit. I pushed it in from this direction, and it turns out that it does perfectly fit. There's just a very small lip at the start of the turret, which I just totally did not see. So I feel like an idiot because the simple solution for putting PETG in this blaster is just to take this other turret, which I got from a second blaster, and just Dremel out the first 5 or 10 millimeters so that the PETG fits in there.
Another thing you could do if you were doing reloading and long barrels is you just cut it halfway in between, and then the front of your barrels you stick this on like as a spacer, and then you stick
I mean, okay, so that was the thing. I mean, obviously you've got to remove the small section, and the two choices were to either Dremel it out or to cut it with the bandsaw. And unfortunately, the blade guide on our bandsaw is too low to be able to fit this whole part through, and I didn't really want to do it on the hacksaw because I know I wouldn't get a nice straight cut. There we go.
Huzzah! Yay!
I've spent the last 4.5 days raging at this machine and that machine because it wouldn't fucking print my print when I didn't even have to. I just had to spend, 20 minutes dremeling all of these out. Whatever.
The lesson is to be more observant?
Be more resourceful? I don't know. Yeah, observant, I guess. As I've mentioned before, this is going to be using PETG for the barrels. And a lot of people will complain about how loose the fit is for PETG. It's pretty good for air blasters because it's almost exactly the right size, but you'll find on some darts, the darts will slowly slip out of the barrels. So a lot of people will use various methods to try and crimp PETG. Now the common method, as far as I'm aware, is to wrap it in a spring and then heat that, and it shrinks, and that's a little bit too messy for my taste. So I have created these two parts which will together allow me to crimp perfect tightening rings in the PETG. This part here is exactly dart diameter, and it's actually two pieces. You'll notice the hexagonal hole for a nut, and on the bottom we have access for an Allen key. The way this works is you insert it into the barrel. Now this also has a flaring component, and I'll explain that in 2 seconds, and heat up this section. Everywhere else will stay the same diameter, and then you take this crimping tool and then just crush it. Now the need for the split should become obvious because that would be firmly crimped in place, which allows you to take one end out the bottom and then push the other all the way through the barrel and out the front. This tool is really super useful for crimping PETG, and I'll be releasing the file for these two parts with this video. The other thing that makes this tool really useful is that it makes it really super easy to flare if you're doing like some sort of breach, because a small angle at the base, and when you heat this and push it down, you will push out a perfect flare on the bottom of the PETG along with a crimp. Now this is positioned so that it'll work for both full-length darts and Steffens. The other useful thing about having a dowel insert like this is that using a standard pipe cutter now really works well with PETG. If you try and use it without anything inside, it just squishes open like that and doesn't cut very well. But when you insert something into the base of it, it cuts like butter. That gets like that. Don't need very much pressure. You just start rotating it, turn it a little bit more. And look at that, that's already cut. Now I will set my calipers to 80, and I'll just use that to mark the outside. Oh, I didn't think about that. This isn't long enough.
So cut it and then insert it the other way, then cut it clean.
That's alright. What I will do is just unscrew this Duvalaki and just push it into the barrel and then...
Duvalaki?
Yeah.
TM.
Technical term. And done.
Precision.
Look at that. Spot on 80. I'm just going to quickly put them over the heat gun on middle-ish high heat. Nope, didn't heat it long enough. Be careful because you don't want to heat it too much, otherwise it will just naturally start to shrink. Yep, there we go. Now, I'm not sure if you can see that on the camera, but there is a nice crimp. Probably should have used a shorter bolt, but whatever. And then we push that out the other end, and we have one perfect tightening ring. This one is designed for FVJs. These old Melbourne Nerf Wars darts are even thinner again, so these still don't stick in perfectly. But for an FVJ, it's a perfect seat.
Multiply by 10.
Store it up like this, so that any of the dribbles dribble back down. To make 100% sure there's no dribbles causing issues, I'll just push them in now. That should ensure all of them at least work. I don't know if I have to glue these barrels in separately, they're quite a snug fit. 60 PSI, which is about what I run my Sledgefire and XBZ at. So let's see how the performance is. I hope it's not terrible. Ah. Shit, the barrel isn't seating nicely. Hold on.
That's flanging each time you fire.
Yeah. Oh, head came off that dart. Okay. So we're seeing fairly inconsistent performance, actually. Some of them seem to be going pretty good, and some of them go about 2 meters.
That wasn't all these.
The fuck? Yeah, see, some seem to go okay, and then others just don't. Alright, let me put some of these screws in, because I think that might be some of the problem with this wobbling around and not seating right. Weird. Okay, well, one of the barrels shot out, and the performance was really inconsistent.
I think they might be too tight.
I might actually need to...
And also need to epoxy in the barrels.
Yeah.
They're testing FEJs.
Yeah, pretty abysmal performance, to be quite honest. And that was running at shy over 60 PSI, about 50. I'm not too sure what's going on there. It doesn't seem to be hitting any harder than the stock blaster. I mean, that's not exactly surprising. We haven't really changed all that much, but you know.
Try with...
This barely even gets seal on these, so I wouldn't use these even if I... Well, it's basically, I think, just a case of that tank is just really, really, really small. I guess that's the conclusion of the video. A little bit underwhelming. I'm going to, in a separate video, I think, maybe if I can be bothered, try and do a tank expansion on this. You know, if we can get a bigger air tank, that'll give us much more power. You know, otherwise I'm a little disappointed, but hey, I proved it's possible to HPA the MX-10, and I guess that was the goal from the beginning. I might chat to Psych, because I know he's done one of these and it seems to get a lot better performance than mine does, so maybe there's something that I'm missing. Until next time, I've been Ryan from Make.Test.Battle, and I hope you at least enjoyed the process of modding this blaster, if not the performance of the outcome. So until the next video, I'll see you then.
Late night editing 5 AM Justin here. If you would like to see me at NWAR or just to support the channel in general, check out our Teespring, buy a t-shirt. If you don't want to pay $20 for a t-shirt, you can check out our Patreon and just give us money.
I know, he turns to the camera. I mean, you've all seen this step. Why are you watching?
Screw horn.
I guess I do have the best screw removal implement of any Nerf YouTuber.
That's the channel's claim to fame.
That's why everyone watches, just because I have the best screwdriver technique in all the lands. A lot of people comment in our videos, "Oh, Ryan, why are you using an electric screwdriver? Don't you mean a drill?" Well, no, this isn't a drill because it is an RPM that is good for screwing, and then this thing, which attaches on the front.
You know what? I don't feel like editing this.
Well, fuck you too! End of the pull. Wow. Thank you, Taro. Let's try that a third time. Next question.
About now.
When the trigger bar presses on the HPA button just right. Once again, I just use hot glue to put this stuff in place because these switches are expensive and I don't want... Oh, shit, fuck. In the meantime, we have a very important task. Cash, pass me the dead glasses.
My Daiso dollar store glassless frames.
This
hipster
is
glasses.
essential for Justin's mental and physical and emotional well-being.
Hey man, memes. Let that sit for 10 minutes at least, make sure everything's all done so we don't get any epoxy on the little spring gasket.
Or, you know, just wipe the epoxy off the back like this.
Well, that's an idea.
I have those from time to time.
You see, Ryan, he's a thinkins man. Oh shit, I didn't turn the mic on.
You're a fucking idiot.
Only joking. sorry. Sorry. I didn't mean it!
Not in the mood for your shit, Justin. Anyway, alright, so until the next video, I'll see you then.